Well, look at this. I got two of my favorite ladies, and we got all this new technology now, too, so we're utilizing it. This is a new segment here at Skyline Sports in association with ESPN Montana. We're going to call this Two and a Fool. No one is actually a fool here. I'm going to be the fool most often. I guess maybe I'm not foolish, though, for inviting these two great ladies to join me. But this is very simple. We have Alex Eschelman, SWX Montana Television, and Mariluz Cook, who is Miss Media for the Big Sky Conference. They will join me each week, and we'll have 10, 12-minute conversation just about various things. And each week we will rotate who is the fool. So whoever the fool is going to be asking the questions. The other two will be analyzing said questions. So I will get the thing started off. First and foremost, ladies, thank you so much for being with me. This is so awesome that we can have a video call with Missoula, Bozeman, and right outside Salt Lake City there. Where are you guys at now? Farmington, is that what they call it?
Farmington, Utah. That's what they call it, Colter.
I love it. Well, great to have you guys here, and awesome having you on the Zoom call. First of all, let's just start just in case people don't know you. Each just introduce yourself. We'll start with Alex. Alex comes on my radio show on ESPN Radio every week, but just tell people just a little bit about your background, Alex.
Well, Colter, first of all, thank you so much for having us on your show. I love spending time with you, love spending time with Mariluz, and to be able to do a show together is pretty exciting. But yes, Alex Eschelman here, SWX sports reporter, except not in the office right now. We've got a little music going on in the background. We're at a coffee shop, and we're doing this right in downtown Bozeman. So yes, happy to be here. Going into year 3 of sports reporting for SWX Montana, Bobcats, high school, all of it.
And Mariluz, the wearer of many hats, and you have all sorts of new stuff going on as well. I mean, not the least of which, Alex's Big Sky Bestie. That's what these girls wanted to call this.
Yes.
Big Sky Besties with Alex and Mariluz. But tell people about your background, Mariluz.
Totally. So I'm originally from South Florida, but out here living in Salt Lake City, Utah now. Joined the Big Sky Conference as their director of broadcast and digital media in January of 2020. Great time to move across the country. And so going on year 3 here with the Big Sky Conference. And like we said, Alex is my Big Sky bestie, like 2 peas in a pod from the moment that we met at the football kickoff 2 years ago. No, it's true. We've
been glued to the
Big Sky Football Media Day. It's just me and Alex just together. But yeah, like you said, I do wear a couple different hats. So obviously the Big Sky Conference is my full-time role, covering the stories around the league in front of the camera and behind the camera as well. But also am working for KSL out here as a sideline reporter for them and as a sports anchor. I'm also the in-arena host for the Utah Jazz and for the Utah Grizzlies. So I do have a few different things going on, but the Big Sky is the reason that I'm out here in Utah, and I'm loving it.
Doesn't sound like she's busy enough, Colter.
Yeah, right,
I think we might need to add a couple things onto her list of things to do.
This is mainly why I had to do this, because the only way I'm ever going to get to hang out with either of you is on a virtual call where we're producing content, because that's all we do is work. We'll start there then, Mariluz, with your time at the Big Sky Conference. What have you thought just this last year? Because it's been sort of a refreshing year. We actually get to see people and go to sporting events. So that's our first question here on Two and a Fool is what has been your favorite storyline in recent months or just over the last calendar year out of the Big Sky?
Okay. Yes. Over the last calendar year, the number one thing that sticks out to me, my favorite thing, Eric Barrier winning the Walter Payton Award last year. I remember my first interview with Eric Barrier. It was over Zoom. And so it was for our virtual football media day, our football kickoff that we did virtually. And I remember he was so shy. And so I texted him actually the other day when it was after the football kickoff, and I was like, oh, Eric, I was like, it didn't feel the same not interviewing you this year.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I miss our weekly Zoom calls. And I was like, Eric, the only reason that we had weekly Zoom calls is because you were winning player of the week like every single week.
Like 7
times. I was like, that wasn't
right
normal. I was like, I wasn't having weekly Zoom calls with anyone else. So I have to say, Eric Barrier, seeing his growth and his development just in the interviews that I got to do with him, and then to be there in person in Frisco and watch him win the Walter Payton Award was just so special. Honestly, my favorite moment that I've had since working at the Big Sky, and just, of course, my favorite storyline from last year.
And Alex, how about for you? I know that you have a high concentration on Montana State, but you've also been around the state of Montana and seen stuff here and followed along in the rest of the Big Sky Conference as well. So what has been your favorite storyline from the Big Sky in recent months?
Definitely, without a doubt. And I don't want to sound like we're beating a dead horse here, but the whole storyline of Tommy Mellott. I mean, getting his first start as a freshman in their first playoff game against Tennessee Martin, taking the team all the way to the national championship game once again as a freshman, being a Butte native to top it all off. And more specifically, that semifinal game against South Dakota State, I will never forget. I think that it was one of those moments where if you were there, it was hands down top 3 best sports moments you've ever witnessed. You know, the we're going to play in Texas song playing on the overhead as soon as Daniel Hardy made that play. It was, oh man, there's a fly, but that was definitely something that I will never forget. And I'm really excited to see how Tommy Mellott just builds off of his success from that playoff run.
Big Sky has always been known as a quarterback league, and both those young men definitely outstanding representatives of their universities and of the league. And I started covering the Big Sky in 2006, and that was when Eric Meyer was first at Eastern Washington, the first of, I believe, 5 different Eastern quarterbacks that have won the Walter Payton Award. And I get the question a lot from Big Sky circles and on the message boards, who's the best Eastern Washington quarterback you've ever covered? And Eric Meyer was so good. Matt Nichols was so good. Bo Levi Mitchell was so good. But I was going to always have a hard time saying anybody was ever better than big play VA Vernon Adams. And Barrier, to me, by the end of his career, he pulled right there. It was definitely, it was close. And he broke a lot of Vernon Adams records. And, Vernon Adams also had the great fortune of playing with a guy probably everybody listening to this has heard of, Cooper Kupp. That you can pad your stats pretty good when you're throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp and Kendrick Bourne. But the Tommy Mellott story has just been unbelievable, because in sports, we always want the awesome feel-good story. And so often something gets in the way of just the storybook coming to full fruition. And it's always a good story, but to have the kid from Butte, America, who lost to Bozeman High School in the state championship game, to then go take Bozeman by storm, and to have a whole class of the most decorated senior class in school history all get his back right away and say, this is our guy. We knew this was our dude. And then to ride it all the way to Frisco, it's unprecedented. And I think that, I have to sometimes step away, because now that we're going into Tommy Mellott's sophomore year, there's a lot of noise going on right now. Is he going to be able to replicate it? Was last year a flash in the pan? Was it lucky? Is he healthy? How much of it was teams just didn't know how to prepare for him? I'm an eternal optimist. I'm completely erring on the other side of this thing. Tommy Mellott might just be the man. He might be the next guy in the Big Sky. He might take the throne that Eric Barrier left him. So it's certainly going to be really, really fun to watch that story progress. But we're definitely going to miss Eric Barrier.
In just a few minutes, small business owners can now sign up for Blackfoot Communication Services. Whether it's dependable voice options or internet services, sign up simply by visiting blackfootsmallbusiness.com. Click on the services you wish, select an installation time and date, and you're done. Small business services at the touch of your fingers. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications and blackfootsmallbusiness.com.
Doing a full here on the Big Sky Breakdown, SkylineSportsMT.com. Alex Eschelman, SWX Montana Television, and Mariluz Cook joining us here. Okay, so our second question, what is the most entertaining, we'll start with you this time, Alex. What is the most entertaining or funny thing that a coach has told you in the last couple months?
There's a couple. I'm going to stay on the Tommy Malott for a second. Taylor Housewright, offensive coordinator for the Bobcats, always has good things to say, and he just kind of weaves them into his answers. And he also loves to give his guys a little crap. And he was talking about Tommy, and he goes, yeah, the 5'8" kid from Butte. And he goes, I don't know if he's 5'8". Actually, tell him he's 5'8". Tell him I said that. So that was the first thing. And then the second thing is Coach Tyler Walker, first-year tight ends coach. I wish we could mic the guy up. RJ Fitzgerald really wants it to happen.
You'd have to do a lot of editing, I hear, though. I think that a lot of that's probably not appropriate for the 5 o'clock news.
Well, I don't know yet. I don't know. I haven't mic'd him up. I haven't spent a full practice with him, but RJ Fitzgerald does say that he has Bob Green like quotes all the time. And if we all know Bob Green, he's a legend, famous Montana Tech ore digger, and says some pretty phenomenal things. So one of his sayings is, you got to attack the guy like you're a rat on a Cheeto or something like that. So he throws random things out. So I'm excited to hear more of those quotes throughout the year.
Well, once upon a time when I was a senior in high school, I was getting recruited by Bob Green when he was still the head coach at Montana Tech. And I went on a visit, and I thought he was so funny that I truly thought I couldn't play for him, because I was like, I don't think that I could take this guy. I would just be laughing the whole time, and then I would be in trouble. And so, say a bunch of my buddies went and played at Tech for Coach Green, and what a character. I mean, he's got more one-liners. He should write a book. I mean, his one-liners are just absolutely endless. Mariluz, how about you? What's the funniest thing you heard from an interview subject in recent months?
Well, I think the funniest coach in the league, I'm going to say it, Portland State's Bruce Barnum.
For sure.
He is hilarious. He's hilarious. So I have two things that I can bring up about him. So number one, we're at the football kickoff. It's media day. Like, this is not the first time that I've done this with him. And he pops up on the stage and he's like, I'm kind of nervous. And I was like, why? He's like, I've never been on he goes, I've never been on live TV before. And I was like, you were here last year. I know that's not true. So it was so funny. And it was literally like right before it was like, and action. And it was really funny. But another thing that he did, actually, that I didn't even put two and two together. I like to dress up. Alex knows. Like, we're over there at we're having our barbecue chic dinner.
Yeah, Bill Lamberty tells us to wear a business casual, and we're like, okay, so our nicest dress and heels.
Right,
exactly.
Right. And if all you people could have seen the photo shoot that then ensued off of this too. I mean, this was the most complicated picture we ever had to take for Twitter. But I digress.
We had to get the lighting right, Colter.
We only see each other once a year at this big Sky Media Day. It's a big moment.
It was a momentous occasion. It was a big deal. But anyway, so I don't think twice when I see Idaho head coach Jason Eck and Idaho State head coach Charlie Regal come up in their suits when they come up for their media day interview. But apparently they were asking Coach Barnum, like, what do we wear? What's the deal? And he said, this is the day that you break out your nicest attire. So he kind of did a little bit of hazing, which was funny. I found out about it later, after the fact. I didn't really put two and two together. But, of course, Barney is like in a fishing shirt and shorts, I believe, for his interview. And these guys show up in
high fashion only, Mariluz.
High fashion only. So I didn't think twice about it, because I was like, all right, they look good. So anyway, the new guys were hazed a little bit by Coach Barney, but I thought it was kind of funny that he told them to break out their best that Monday for ESPN Plus. So
here's my grand plan. Bruce Barnum comes on our show at least once every 3 months, no matter if it's football season or baseball season or whatever, because he's so funny. I got to have him on ESPN radio. Everybody loves him. Now, it's crazy to think, but his son, Cooper Barnum's actually playing for Bobby Houck in the Montana Grizzlies. So that's pretty interesting, Fold. But here's my grand plan. Montana State plays at Oregon State in Portland the third week of September. Portland State has a bye. I already have it on the books to go out there and do my live radio show Wednesday through Friday at a variety of different sports bars. And it's going to be a sort of a collaboration with the Montana State Alumni Association and the Grizzly Scholarship Association. And plus we're going to get some Oregon State people there. But I'm pressuring, I'm putting the pressure on Mike Lund, Portland State Sports Information Director. I said, we need to have a full co-hosted show. Like, Bruce Barnum doesn't need to be a guest. He needs to come on here and he needs to be with on this thing for the long haul. Let's see how much content we can get out of Barney in a 2-hour show. So this might be, this could be, the most award-winning thing ever, or maybe it's going to get us fired from the radio. But either way, it's going to be really fun. 2 and a full here on the Big Sky Breakdown. Mariluz Cook, Alex Eschelman joining us. We'll do this once a week. Last thing for you guys then, what do you got cooking? I know that there's a lot of people listening that want to consume your guys' great storytelling abilities. So we'll start with you, Mariluz. What's going on there at the Big Sky Conference? What do you got cooking this fall?
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff for sure. I think one of the biggest things, and we've talked about it before, FCS All In is now on ESPN Plus. I'm so excited to be hosting that, providing coverage for the entire FCS. So that's something really cool now on ESPN Plus. So hosting that and producing that, really cool that the Big Sky Conference gets to play a role in creating this content for the entire FCS. So that's a big chunk of my fall for sure. And then obviously just look at the stuff going on Big Sky Conf on social media, producing a lot of that stuff, and then just my personal Instagram is my first, or Instagram and Twitter is my first and last name, Mariluz Cook. And then you can see all the different things I'm working on, just promoting the stuff there. So that's probably the easiest way. A lot of different things going on.
Oh, and you can also follow, unfortunately, Mariluz's rehab journey as well, because you did hurt yourself. I'm sorry that this happened.
I did. Florida girl moves to Utah, takes the skiing, and tears her ACL.
Oh man. I have to make light of it just to make you feel better. I honestly feel so bad for you. It makes me so sad that you got the ski accident in, but you'll love
okay. Thank you.
Alex, how about you? What's going on at SWX in the upcoming week?
I will say just a little quick comment. Sorry, you broke up there for a second, Colter. That could have been me. But just a quick comment about Mariluz. If there's anybody that can rock a crutch and make it look fashionable with a cheetah print top and some cute hoops, it's her. Anyway, what's going on over here is, we've got Gold Rush live broadcast, SWX Montana. So I've been prepping all of my sideline hits for that. We've also got the Montana State Athletics Hall of Fame this Saturday that I'm really excited to be helping host along with Bill Lamberty. We'll have Dennis Erickson there. Alex Singleton's going to be in town. And that's just to name a few of the big names around here in Bozeman. But other than that, we've got high school football content. We've got Montana State volleyball content. And then high school volleyball content as well, soccer, all of it. So we are just going to be throwing highlights at you left and right, and being a part of all these live sporting events.
2 and a full Big Sky Breakdown, presented in part by Town Pump Food Stores. They're going to keep us fueled up both in nutrition and in gasoline all fall long. Appreciate Town Pump for their continued support of Skyline Sports and the Big Sky Breakdown. We'll have a new episode of 2 and a Fool upcoming. I won't be the fool next week. Ladies, this was awesome. Thanks for the debut segment, and very much look forward to catching up with you each week.
Thank you, Colter.
Honored, Colter. Thank you. Excited for the season.
At Blackfoot Communications, our mission is to connect people, businesses, and communities, bringing a world-class fiber network to homes, communities, and businesses of all sizes, ensures Montanans have access to fast, reliable, and secure internet and phone services. Are you ready for fiber internet? To find out if fiber is coming to your area, visit goblackfoot.com/readyforfiber. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications.